Wait, are we doing our names or no names?
Oh, you can put your name as well.
Oh, yeah. The crew. The crew's here.
Nice. Hey.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Oh, man. Benoit's clicking around
It's a
furiously.
Wednesday.
I'm back.
Hey.
Hey.
Already.
We're just on YouTube and LinkedIn today, not on Twitch, Twitter, and Friendsters and Facebook. We're on MySpace. We're still on MySpace.
Yeah, nice.
I still believe in it.
Oh my
I
God.
missed
How-
the
how are-
Friendster bout, I think.
Yes, I missed it too.
Yeah.
But we actually had a social media that was like specific to Edmonton and Calgary called Nexopia.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
I think I remember that.
Yeah, it was a social
Nexopia.
media and it was like regional
Yeah.
in those early days. And then I don't think it worked out. But I remember it was like you went on somebody's page and they had like 4 images at the top.
Mhm.
And then they were like, blah, 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 more about me is. And that was, I think that's pretty much all it was.
Why they did it, you think? Because it was trendy, or?
I think, I don't know, maybe there was like a moment in tech where you could have taken that early position of the social media thing
Mm,
and the right, but the timing is always hard to get right, for things like that. If you're trying to jump on a trend, you're like too early, you're too late,
Yeah.
don't have enough money at the right time. I don't know.
So is it the right time to do something in AI now, or we're too late?
I don't know. I don't know. I think,
If you don't know, you're too late. That's it.
huh?
I don't think AI is going to go anywhere, and it's going to continue to have new applications.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
We've definitely
we
had
don't
lots of
even know.
dumb applications so far. So I think it would be a great time to have a good application that actually solves a problem.
Never stop.
Slash user data.
Yeah, it's true. I'm pretty sure people will do dumb things with AI. I'm pretty sure. I really believe in people. Yeah, I'm confident they will do dumb thing. I'm sure. I'm sure we'll have a drawer some kind on every apps for the next 2-3 years, where you just open it and you ask questions in general, and that's the chatbot AI stuff.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that will be
Yeah.
the first thing that everybody will. A little bit like
I-
chatbots,
Yeah. I would love it if they could do it in a way that was actually useful for interpreting data. That would be great. Google's trying to do it with analytics, and you're like, but every question I've asked, it's been like, So I'm like,
So,
Okay.
so they're trying to like help you read your analytics for you, and is
yeah.
that what? Oh,
Yeah, or like, could you tell me what the trend is between like these 2 months
Yeah.
of the relationship between February and January, but last year and
Mhm.
compared to this year, for example? It's not something
Yeah.
you can do with filters. It's
Yeah.
just like, huh? Okay, well, great. It's like you
This
had
is
some
a
more
simple
users on a page.
ask.
I'm like,
I-
yeah, it's
I'm-
kind of simple.
I'm using Wavebox right now to replace Chrome. It's weird, but it's fun. And when I'm in any kind of apps or website, there's something where I can ask some question about what I'm looking at. So where's this option? How can I activate this? What's summarize me this page for? And it's kind of interesting to have a companion, right beside you all the time. And it's not, a reflex, but
Mhm.
kind of like it. Kind of like
Yeah.
it.
Could be cool.
Pretty cool. We have 2 minutes. We have a couple of people on YouTube, so please say hi and comment if you're there. We'll talk about learning stuff. I don't know where it came from here. Oh, we'll talk about it in 2 minutes. Let's gear on about something else. It's the last show and share for Megan for a while. Yeah, she will show us and share something bigger soon. Let's hope. We'll not put it that live. Don't worry about it.
I'll bring my new baby.
What's your name again?
Simba. Reina.
Oh, Reina. Oh, that's
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's nice.
So yeah. we don't have any more subject. Winter is gone now. We can enjoy the summer, and we can go back
Yeah.
in front of our screens now
Yeah.
again.
We've all recovered from our seasonal affective disorder and we're ready to
Barely recovered.
Hugging those vitamin D's.
barely recover. Well, actually, I got them right here.
Hey, there, I've got the same one.
You had a coupon. That's
Pretty much. I'm like, which one's the cheapest one?
Yeah, me too. I was like, I'll just take that. That's on sale.
Yeah.
I've been popping those vitamin D's, and I've just been feeling so much better nowadays. I don't know what it is, but it works. Maybe it's like a placebo. Maybe it's just candy, and I'm just.
It's one of the few supplement things out there that actually has really real data around it. So I think it's actually like medically significant. So
and it made my teeth whiter. I have more energy. By the way, guys, we're just designers again, just UX designers, so don't take our advice as medical advice, whatever it is. There's a legal thing here.
please don't.
Yeah. What?
That's why I did the quotes. Okay.
Oh, the quotes, great.
That's a legal thing that we have to do throughout all these lives.
What you can follow, so what you can maybe do, is our learning resources that we'll share now. That we'll talk about. So the origin story of this show and share, whatever it is we have a course online at pencilandpaper.io. We have a new one coming soon, so please subscribe to the newsletter. You will be notified when we have new products, new tools, templates, or courses for sure. And we have a couple coming soon. And people ask us, yeah, I love your design source. I love this data table course and all. Do you have other courses? We said, well, we will. We have some work to do before. But we do learn about UX design online and elsewhere. We do have a couple of resources, a couple of things that we can share to you, and maybe that could be useful for anyone. And we thought about doing this, and we'll again, if you subscribe, we'll summarize it somewhere in an article, in a blog, somewhere for you to use later. But why not just coming together and talk about what are and who are the people that we're reading, learning from, and just share together what it is. You ready, guys? Yeah.
So ready.
Yeah. Let's start with Fanny. Fanny, I'm pretty sure you have tons of great resources to share. You can share your screen if you want, and you can. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I might do first a shameless plug, but not as shameless as you think. But I do want to mention, because some people don't know what IXDA is, the Interaction Design Association. Because I was recently at their Zurich conference, and it's a really special community. It's a really interesting and important part of my UX career. It's a great group. It's an infinite well of resources, and maybe not training as to like learning about, let's say, how to use Figma. Maybe it's more a bigger picture kind of lens on our field. And I really have to shout out their video archive. Every single talk that has been given at a IXDA conference is on Vimeo. It's all available and searchable. Well, searchable, maybe not that much. No filters or anything if we want to get nerdy. But it's a great place to kind of learn about the field, discover new voices, and who's kind of the thought leaders a little bit of this scene. And also having attended the conference, being in person with them, they are very, very friendly and welcoming folks. So that's always a thing. I hadn't met them in person. I had only met them online by having been on the organizing committee 2 years ago. But yeah, it's a great
what's the website?
Crowd. So yeah, well, I want to try and share, but I'm using the same browser I want to share in. So
I'll share it.
Okay, so website would be currently, so it's interaction23.ixda.org, because that's the current edition of the conference.
Yeah, we'll share that.
interaction23.ixda.org.
Yeah, there it
And
is.
on here, you can find links to all of their other platforms. They've got a Medium blog, they've got Instagram, Twitter, whatnot. And the Vimeo is a bit harder to find, but I'll share you this link directly. Oh no, vimeo.com/ixda. Pretty straightforward as well. And they've got 1,400 talks on there. So something different than Netflix to binge on a Saturday night. You can binge the IXDA Vimeo and have your designer brain expanded a bit. So I thought I'd mention this because not everyone knows about it.
Yeah, and since the pandemic, they had the conference remotely, but I found that in Montreal they had some get together and people just
Yes,
kick
that's it.
around.
It's a very international community. That there's this yearly kind of conference, but every month or even every week potentially there are local chapters organizing meetups and like mini conferences of their own. So definitely look it up in your city. It might be a thing. It's a thing in Montreal. It's also pretty big in South America.
Oh yeah.
It's really a global community. There's chapters a bit all over the globe. So
I have to say,
yeah.
there's nothing better than learning from actual people who are doing it, but live and sharing a beer or a drink and thinking and talking not just about the artifact, but you propose something. How do you solve this problem? And just have the back and forth between people. I think it's the best kind of learning we can have. If you can find a community where you can just share things and geek around and be nerd like intense nerding together. I think there's nothing best. We will share a couple of resources, but that's kind of good.
Yeah, it's really special. And I like that it's not like UX association, like it's really interaction design, and it has opened my eyes to many other ways to be an interaction designer. I've got people in robotics that gave some talks that were super inspiring, and people who design like not interactive, but kind of interactive clothes and like what that can teach us about interaction, like the nature of interaction. So it's a much more open kind of way to look at the field. That's what I really like about it.
It's true. Anyone is part of a community like that?
Sorry?
No, I'm asking the group if we are part of a community like that. ISDA have something in Montreal. I went to a couple of events in the past. Anyone have something online or even in real person like that?
No.
We kind of we don't have any friends. That's what you're saying. So oh, interesting. Thank you. Yeah, it's going into the conference for some time is not just for the conference by itself. It's all the people, and I love having dinner and drink after the conferences and just talk. Oh, you did this and this and that. This networking aspect is crucial when you're starting, but it's crucial when you move into silos and industries. Is you can find peers. I think conferences like that are a great investment, not just again for the talks, but for the people you can
definitely
create friends with. Yeah, that's right, absolutely. Megan, any resources for UX designers out there that you must take a look at?
Kind of a smattering, but basically for me, I like to follow quite a few different resources and see what crops up, different mediums even, because things change so fast. So I like information being pushed towards me and just kind of feeling the trend of it. So I'll go through a couple. So Twitter, like online communities, I really love like people, they start conversations, share resources. I find that super helpful. Podcasts, there was a really great podcast I really loved called What is Wrong with UX? And it was hilarious. But they did end the podcast sometime in last year, 2022, and then they started a new one called What is Wrong with Hiring? And that one I find really hilarious too. So even though What is Wrong with UX, this one's done, there's still like 100 like I haven't finished going through them, so there's a lot.
Laura Clean. Laura Clean, she's so fun. You're right. And now she has
Yeah.
something for hiring. Ah.
Yeah, exactly. And I really resonate with a couple of these too.
Mm.
So yeah, I really enjoy these podcasts. It's always nice to like put them on while I'm like say eating or something, just little sound bites. And the other thing that I like to do is sign up for newsletters.
Mm.
Shout out to our PNP newsletter here. Yeah, yeah. One that is a must is a UX Collective one.
Oh, yes,
Um,
right.
yeah, so I really like it. It kind of does, it just has a pulse on things, and I quite enjoy just seeing that. I mean, I also have another one, Ally. That one takes more time. It's a sometimes a bit more technical. It's like
Hi.
A11Y. It's for accessibility.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's, oh,
this
yeah.
one. So
Okay.
this one it does take me a bit more time to get more in depth in. Yeah, you can check this one out, the Ally project. This one.
Hmm.
So and it's really cool because the things I really like about this sort of content, like particularly for UX Collective and Ally, is that I'm not really familiar with these things, like some of the topics that they go into in depth. And it's really nice because, on the one hand, if I continuously follow the exact content that I'm interested in, then I just have that one bubble. But like when other content is pushed towards me, I feel like, okay, I'm being exposed to new things, new conversations.
Mm.
I don't really get some of it, but it's on the radar, and it's kind of nice challenging myself to get into different things.
Yeah, we can do that in Twitter. I have different kind of lists also. You mentioned Twitter, you creating lists to follow, your mentors or people or your tribe,
Hmm.
and I have a list of people who really don't think like UX designer or even
Mm.
don't like designer or think very differently than designer and or
Yeah.
just developers or just product manager. And I'm
Yeah.
learning a lot from people coming from other, you know, uh, other point of views.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
Hearing different voices is really valuable. I agree too. Like hearing the developer's side is like, oh, didn't think of this this way. And there's definitely a different angle,
mm,
everything.
so yeah, well, I can help you maybe on accessibility because that's one of my resources, and so I'll take my turn right now. So
Hmm.
one thing we can do, well, one resources I kind of like, it's kind of dry, harsh, not fun to read. The weak accessibility for me was a documentation I read and read and reread so many times for the last 15, 20 years, and helped me understand a couple of basic principles about accessibility. And I love accessibility for many reasons because it's going back to the source, to the base, to why we should put information out there and how, and the why and the how, and how you measure that. So it's dry, but if you look at it for every little piece of it, you'll not have a better sources for AI. But if I'm sending this to someone, who will say, "What the hell? What bleh," in a way. So they do have a couple of learning stuff, WCAG videos, things like they do. Still very dry, and when people someone asks me about accessibility, it's for me it's Dickey University. I think Dickey University. I think it's just $300, but they have everything for you, and I think they are the best one to learn to learn from in terms of accessibility. They really have everything there, and they are doing so many other things. They are creating tools for accessibility. They are coaching, so they know that it's not just people who just wanted to create a course out of it. So just the accessibility fundamentals here. If you go and access to it, the 90 minutes. I think I asked so many people to do the first 90 minutes, and things were clicked and say, oh my God, we're in big trouble just after 90 minutes. So this training for accessibility, I think, is one of the best, and kind of it's kind of a must-have, I think, for designer in general, because if you design with the extremes in mind, you kind of design for everyone in a way, and you're even innovating for everyone. The examples, the example I'm giving all the time is, well, the clicker, the TV remote. It was made for people who were not capable to go to the TV and switch, and now pretty much everyone is using. Well, everyone who doesn't have a remote. So it's the same thing in design. Designing in in extreme accessibility is helping you to understand so much about how people are interacting with the product in different ways, going back again to different point of views, and not just the classic desktop experience and the enterprise UX. And I think in accessibility, it's even more important in enterprise UX. It's kind of it's even the law in a couple of countries, even in Canada. So that's one. That's one I love. What's the next one I have in my tab? Any opinions and feedback on accessibility? Have you ever did any training or learning resources about accessibility? Oh,
I've perused documentation before and like talked to devs about it. Like, your front end dev that's really keen type of person.
yeah.
But yeah, not. Oh, actually, I do think I read a book a while ago. But I don't feel like, oh yeah, I'm so smart on this at
It's
all.
kind of
Yeah, same.
it's
I think
complicated.
it
Sorry.
comes up. It's kind of like a background, like a little topic, but I feel
Yeah.
like it's quite involved too. Definitely collaboration with devs and being real intentional about it. I feel like that's kind of something I want to get more into.
There's designers who just specialize in accessibility, by the way, and the other kind of a breed. Okay, next one. Oh, by the way, hi Chris. This is one of our fan out there. Thank you for being everywhere with us. Thank you very much. So Google Scholar, since day one, I had a lot of alerts, and I have a different kind of alerts. Sometimes I have UX in medicine. Sometimes it's AI. Sometimes I just create a new AI, a chat, whatever. And I'm having a lot of papers and scientific papers sent to me. And I have to say, it's one of my routine. I'm doing Mondays or Fridays. I'm looking at all of this and looking at some scientific paper. Most of them are not useful, but sometimes there's one, oh God. And why I love it, because, for example, reticulation, I just, type user interface, put it by dates and clicking on something. And sometimes the free one, have a lot of content about UX and UI, a lot, like way too much sometimes. Looking at the summary at the end, trying to come up with some kind of an understanding, trying to scan and to grasp all of this kind of hard. But what I like about scientific paper is they explain something in depth, like I don't have elsewhere in blogs, articles. I kind of love that. And they have references. So if they are explaining something, I look at the references and I can train myself pretty good about this subject. And I can find myself in a rabbit hole like that, and spend my whole nights in looking at this and this paper and this paper and this paper. It's kind of interesting what people need to actually test and validate. It's not just an opinion. Most of the papers, they try to come up with why is it falsible? Is it false? Is there? But this is false, and I kind of like that. I learned a lot at the beginning, and yeah.
Yeah, I use this too. I was looking up like search rabbit hole behavior. Like I was trying to find something that described like going into a search rabbit hole like you were talking about doing on this stuff like a couple weeks ago, and I actually found some real papers on it that were looking at searching behavior for people. And I was like, because nobody's gonna like, we don't really talk about stuff in that intense depth really in our, UX world of blog posts and stuff. And I was like, ah. So it was super cool. I wish like I feel like this is actually really good reason to like join your local library because you can potentially see academic sources.
Exactly. I bought some of the papers. You know, when I found they were
Hmm.
cited a lot and all, I bought some of them, and I still have them. And sometimes I need to maybe reread them again. Um, yeah. So
Nice.
I have that. What else do I have? I have I don't know why Beautifulness from John Kotler. He's one of the
Oh yeah,
I,
he's great.
he's just yeah, it's not exactly design, but there's a lot of thing in design about the ecosystem, how you make decision, how the team make decision, or the team or form, or a decision or form, specific specific not just examples, but what I love about him is he's trying to synthesize that in a visual or in a whiteboard somehow. And so I'm following him on Twitter. But this is for me a must read. When it come in an email, I kind of have to read it. And yeah, so John Cloutier,
Yeah,
you
he's
know
got
it?
more of like an org design or team focused kind of content about actually making stuff, which
Yeah.
I see his tweets quite often, and he gets a little spicy. But
Exactly.
he often has really good wording to them, and it elicits people to say interesting things in response. Like he's really good, good at writing tweets too.
Absolutely.
Weirdly, right? Because you can just you see a lot of high engagement tweets, but they're not well written and they're not interesting. But he's making you think. So
And the subject is quite important for UX designer and enterprise UX. Very important. It's
mhm.
not just the craft of UX and where are you swimming in, how, uh, well, everything about the enterprise in general, the organization in general. I think it's kind of important. What else do we have? I have some things on YouTube. Maybe something that maybe Megan will love. Sarah Doody. I don't know why she moved from UX in general to UX job or helping UX designer in their job, and I love her point of view and how she expressed it. Her newsletter is just perfect. The YouTube is also great, and she's helping a lot of people in UX growing their career in general. I love her, and I love what she's doing to help in general. It's not just courses or opinions. She's have classes, tools here and there, and so for every new designer that say how can I what, what should I put in my CV and all, we do have a course about that coming soon again. Again, wink, but she's there for people who absolutely need it. So I'm sending people who want to switch to something different in UX, maybe coming from intermediate to senior, or doing just research, or they're junior, or they just came from school. This is my go follow her, go watch her videos, read her article, and that will help you. So Sarah Doody, and also have sometime I need a dose of UI, just UI stuff, just fun Figma workflow kind of stuff where I can see how people are doing it. And I love Flux Academy. I don't know why I'm subscribed. I started maybe a couple of years ago, and you have the 5, 10, 15 minutes quick how tos. And I kind of love how to's sometimes, just, here an example, just top 3 things you can do to
Mm.
animate something in Figma, things like that. I kind of need it. I need this to be connected with that. And kind of love this little tips here and there in a beautiful way. And they are very humble and they really try to show what they are doing. Sometimes they have live design session where they're redesigning your website, and just listening to them on how they came up with this design, what's the reasoning, all of this. I love it. I kind of love this. So Flux Academy, it's one. And I have others. I have product hand, but not for what you think. What I love to learn about design for real is I just watch that, watch every kind of new product that trying to do something differently, and
Mm.
I'm logging in, opening a, creating an account, I'm using it, and I love it. I'm learning so much for a little new innovative product and of how they are doing interaction, how they're using, design system to quickly launch something. And I learned so much from product, not product by itself, but new products that are just trying something and put it, out to us. And we're trying. We're just trying it. So one thing that I love, how I love method I love learning is just using a lot of different enterprise UX tool. And this for me, it's the best list because people are trying something and don't care too much about what the organization needs. Sometimes just they are trying a little thing. It's an MVP
Mm.
of a very specific interaction, a specific thing, and say, oh, three different ways how to share file, for example. I can and AI, for example. I want to know how people are using ChatGPT, for example, as plugins. In Product Hunt, I have like 12 different ways of building a design with ChatGPT. Hmm. So learning a lot from new products made by little startups. A lot.
Hmm.
Um,
I would have something similar actually on that note, like don't just trying new products. And
mm,
what I found to be really informative, surprisingly informative in the past year was joining like private betas when
ooh,
a product isn't
Mm.
actually a product yet.
private
You get
beta.
to like see behind the scenes of the product team so well. So it's a bit more like learning about product design or like product strategy almost, because you join at this very early stage where like, for example, one of them, the Readwise Readers app, they they kept saying how like, oh yeah, you're a UX designer, but like don't look at the design, it's like super ugly, we're not focusing on that yet. But it was A1, like it was pretty good. And it's interesting to see how they communicate that to the beta testers, and also how they all have different ways to like making a community around it. Some of it's happening on Discord, some of it more on Twitter. Like the Arc browser by the browser company, they've got a private Twitter account, basically profile, and then they kind of kept releasing these updates. So you like feel like you're kind of part of something, and you can kind of observe
Mm.
their UX work in actions. That's been really interesting for me, and it kind of sounds like what you said with Product Hunt,
Oh,
testing out new things and what are they actually trying to solve. Yeah.
it's so good point. When I want to do productive procrastination, I opening just my Discord and I'm subscribed to many beta things, and I see people asking question, throwing assumption, throwing mock-ups, all of this, and just
Yeah.
this energy conversation is kind of oh, it's unstuck me sometime from dull moment with something, and that's true. Beta version people are just hungry for feedback and insights, so you can get there and be involved, and now making more friends and talk with them and create your own community. It's a great point. I forgot about it. It's true.
Yeah.
Join any beta group because
Mm.
they're willing to provide something and risk something in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
Good point. Now, Dimitri, it's yours. The floor is yours.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, I let's see here. Could you
Yeah, we will.
go on to the whimsical one, or do you want me to share my screen? Is that
No, I'm showing it.
okay?
So I'll click on your face and I'll
Nice.
follow you.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I just want to talk to a little bit about the first thing that I always I followed was Samuel from user onboarding when I first started. Um, uh, he talked about teardowns. So he would go through. If you click on the link, Benoit, you'll be able to uh, go to his website and see these teardowns are just like breakdowns of all of the notes that he keeps about certain companies. So he'll do one for like, yeah, like you see you have a list of them, right? So whichever one you like, and then you go through it, and he's got comments on it, and it's a little bit of a satire as well, but kind of giving you an idea of like what the onboarding experience is like. And it really helped me, just try to understand the space a little bit, and adding really cool elements to it and stuff. So yeah, it was really great resource to kind of get a little bit of a handle on onboarding and thinking about your users. Um, the other one that I was thinking of talking to about is the UIE, and that's from Jared Spool. It's one of a great resources uh, to look into the space of design, especially user experience, and lots of great articles. There's definitely ones that are provocative and make you think and think critically about the space. A great resource. And it's interesting because I'm currently taking a course with him, with Dr. Leslie, and it's a course about leadership.
Mm.
Uh, Leaders of Awesomeness is one of the areas, and it's a community. It's a course that I joined, and it really talks about how to become a leader in your space and user experience. Talking about thinking about your users and their journey and their frustrations and all the things that you need to talk about when when you're part of a team, and how important it is to focus on your users and your customers. So a really great resource there. You can have take a look at that. For books, yeah, I've this one was an early one that I went into. Um, this one particularly, if you click on the link, yeah, this is a library from Envision. I think we all used Envision to kind of craft a little bit of our first prototypes. So this is a library that they've created, which is fantastic. Good one. Yeah, you could browse around. There's different authors that wrote about various topics, and it's just a fascinating dive into some of them, and it's all free. You can download their PDFs and just get access to it. Obviously, you got to sign up a little bit here and there, but it's nothing that crazy. Great resource. Definitely, I've had some reads on that. Two other books that I really would love for more people to read. One is from Aaron Walter. He's the person from Mailchimp originally, and he talks about emotion in design, and that's very important to think about for your users. And it just weaves in so many great ideas into it. And one that I absolutely adored. It was Creativity Inc. by Ed Catmull. Obviously from Pixar. Just a great book about like opening up your mind to how to think about your process, how to get outside. Like an interesting a passage in the book was when they created a particular movie, they brought their whole entire team to the area where they were going to get inspiration from. So for Ratatouille, they went to France, and you could see them all there and just kind of observing their whereabouts and kind of exposing them to getting inspiration. And it was fantastic. So a great read. I loved it. I read it twice. So just a great book. And then I've got some tools and inspirations here. Dribble obviously is like the go-to. This particular dribbler is one of my favorites, Guillaume. He has the cutest, amazing, just like way of approaching the architecture, and I just gained so much inspiration from him. He makes me laugh. Some of the things that he has, it's just wonderful, and it's just a different space to explore. Like we've talked about how we've talked about conferences and stuff, and this is just 3D animation, and it just livens me up. I love browsing around and getting inspirations from that. So that's been a really cool moment. And then yeah, like there's this other one called Coolers. I don't know if anyone has problems with colors. Um, uh, you'll see there, Benoit, if you go to yeah, Coolers, yeah, that one, and you'll probably go through a couple of sign up right now. But yeah, yeah, let's go. And this is a really great tool, because if Benoit presses spacebar right now, it's going to generate a new color set. So Benoit, if you press spacebar,
Spacebar.
yeah,
Oh.
it's press spacebar quickly. Yeah, there you go. Boom, 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 boom. So basically, the idea here is just you're generating different color palettes, and it's really great to explore. It's just another way of looking into it. And what's really neat is, yeah, you want to hide that? Nah. You can lock certain palettes, and then you can look, like, let's say you really like this one, you can use the lock mechanism on the back, yeah, or drag them and lock it, and then you can press spacebar and then look for other colors that could match it. Really great tool, a lot of fun, and so yeah, I'll end it there. And yeah, it's been fun. Kira,
Hello.
gotcha.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say something.
Yeah.
So when we got this mission to bring our learning resources together and talk about them on our show and share, I thought about it. I thought about my own journey with learning user experience and interaction design and stuff like that. And so I didn't really bring books or websites or anything like that. I sort of brought a few practices and ideas that people could try using. Um, so, um, so the first thing, if you want to share the whimsical, Benoit. So when I started off my career anyways, I had like a super weird job, which was at a startup. So you know how startups are like, yeah, just do everything, right? And so I was doing quality assurance, and this helped me actually, there's this idea that we have like with visual hierarchy and visual design, is that once you see it, you can't unsee it. You're going to just start to notice it. You just like have that thing now in that microchip in your brain. And I kind of think that it's same or a similar kind of argument could be said for actually doing quality assurance or QA as well, but for interaction. So this was how personally I learned to see interaction, at least that initial like level of observation. And so, doing things like regression testing, so mapping out end-to-end flows that are like the happy path. Okay, so we push a new version, this stuff needs to work. So so I did that quite a bit. I figured out, using a program in such an intense way, like an app or a program or whatever, that you figure out how to break it. You figure out what to put in to make the thing not work, or what combinations of things to do to put yourself in a bad state, like you're trying to figure out what that stuff is, and testing out a product like as a role. So this is something, as a admin, I can do something, as a viewer, as a whatever, and looking at it actually with that lens in detail. And then I think the part of it of writing an error properly, and noticing every single thing on the screen and being like, there's a button here, it says save, there's a thing here, there's a thing here. So really kind of obsessing to try to find the problems with something, similar to like Dimitri, what you're talking about with the onboarding thing. And so this is not really something I got from like a resource or anything, but if you're somebody who is just trying to get the feel a little bit for interaction, a thing you could do is sort of do this yourself. Do a little, pretend you're a QA for a little bit, choose a complex tool like Google Docs or Word or something like that everybody has access to. Map kind of the main flows of like what you absolutely should be able to do in that thing. QA the tool, try to break it, and write up bugs. So write up 5 bugs is what I put down. I put a little link here on how to write an effective bug report. And for basically all of my learning tool practices, maybe I'm suggesting you write something. I know I went wild with that, but writing the title of what just happened is actually really hard. Along with the steps to reproduce, it's a lot of precision in describing what you're actually observing. So it's not so much that you like figure out how to break stuff and you're like, cool, I pressed like spacebar 5 times and then shift and command and like it broke. It's also describing what you did and remembering what that was. So that's something that I found to be like a really cool way to learn a bit about interaction.
You mean queuing in general and writing it also? No, it's not
Yes.
just queuing; it's writing. I was
Not
that
just
close.
QA.
Exactly. I was that close to share something that's not absolutely not designed with someone who just helped you to write. But taking his course, a couple of years ago, helped me really. And I'm still bad at it, to explain something, and while I explain, I'm trying to understand it. And if I understand, I see my weak points and strong points, and I'm learning so much by writing what I think it's the problem, and find myself that I don't know what's the problem and need to look at it again. So you're right, writing it's one of the best learning tools. And now this approach, kind of smart. Really smart.
Yeah, I think what's kind of cool about it as a process is, I mean, as you read things, you do the same thing. You think you bring it back to your own experience, what you're working through right now, and all of that. And then, so writing is similar, except you're not just you're not reading it, you're making it kind of at the same time. So I've got 4. So the next one is right into the design rationale documentation, because this is a huge way that I learned. I didn't really learn a really traditional program or like anything like that. I think when I started kind of hardcore designing, I read a few articles and I read, how to design for everyday things by our buddy there. So when I got into design, I was sort of forced to write a lot of things, including design rationale documentation. So this really taught me to reflect all the time. So when you're designing, it's so confusing, honestly. Some of the conversations you get into, you're like, what just happened? Seriously, we were like thinking of ideas, and then we were talking about scope, and then we were talking about like at this high level, and then we were talking about the content in the drop down. Like you do that all in like an hour. So whoa.
Indeed. Yeah.
But I kind of had this practice of writing, kind of logging a bit of the at least high level things of what we did in a design session and what we were doing with a specific feature. And so it really helped me doing this basically every day. Writing why I'm doing what I'm doing helped me kind of find assumptions, learn my own mind and how my logic is coming in. And it kind of forced a reflection all the time. When we design complex features, it gets weird really fast. And all of those micro decisions, they add on top of each other. So this was kind of a way to just like check that certain things were true. Not everything's like not true, but have a steady kind of moment for that.
Wait. You're doing, you have a wait. Okay, before you go to the next subject, because it's kind of more important than we think. I'll let you continue and we can talk about it. But go on. So
go ahead.
No. I just didn't want you to go to another subject. I want to talk about it as a team. But go with
I wanted to say something about the
Exactly.
I
That's why.
I wanted to say, like, especially to your last point, Kira, I find sometimes when I'm writing my design rationale, even just the act of articulating it to myself, sometimes I realize there's actually holes in the hole that I thought was huge is actually not that huge, or vice versa. Like, as I'm writing it out and I'm like, oh, because of this, and I'm like, you start to think, is it really? Wait. And then sometimes that'll give me pause and I'll go back to my design, do some more things, and then work on the rationale and tweak what I, assumed, or the constraint I was about to say, because I realized maybe that is not the right assumption I want to go with, or that constraint isn't quite the constraint that was first in my head.
Yeah. I remember doing the same thing, but for user research in a way. When I started, I had to type every, interviews or usability test I had. So I had really to type and hear myself. That's kind of painful. But I had to type it. Now you have the transcription. And when I send the transcription, people say, "Oh, we'll never read that. You have to, again." So I needed to write the rationale of the users when they are, when it came to, whatever interaction they had. So I had to write it and rewrite it so people understand it a little bit better. And so writing what was the problem, how people felt, how they experienced it, I kind of reflect on it while I was writing it. It helped me a lot. I was, a junior. I had to do it. It was not fun, but I learned so much from listening to every, intonation of a user, the words that they use and all of this. And so listening to the user, talking, it's true that's something for your mind. If you know how you think, you'll be able to, think better, understand your bias a little bit more, how you view that, and how you even, maybe convince someone or see where it's wrong. It's more powerful than we think. So there's multiple areas and books we can read, but this will help you be a better designer quicker and a more senior designer, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and I think that actually doing this kind of process with your design of identifying like why you did certain things, you also, as Megan says, you see those holes, and that ties right into your user testing because, say you're explaining a big feature to a development crew or something, and you're like, well, this part is actually really unknown. We think that, we did it because of this, but we know that maybe there's problems with that logic. So we're going to test it, so you can, it can really help you just have that sense rather than like, oh, I guess we just have to test everything all the time, no matter what, and the same level of intensity.
Yeah, it's hard when you say in the design show, I feel it's cute. It's kind of cute. Well, yeah, no, it doesn't. You cannot express something like that when you're writing. When you're expressing and showing and presenting, yeah. When you're writing, exactly, it's even frightening sometimes because you start writing your design show and say, "Oh, I don't know that much. I'm not sure where I'm going." Yeah, you have a kind of activity. Take a small wireframe.
Yeah. Assuming, you're working on something right now, you can take, or you can make this yourself from scratch, take a small wireframe or flow and just identify every decision that you made. Whether that's like a layout decision, you have a heading at the top. Why do you have a heading at the top? All of those like little minute little details. Why did you choose this word over another word? Why did you make the interaction, initiate here with that button? Saying why you did it just on one screen, I feel like, or one even simple thing, something just a little bit more complicated than a login flow or like a login screen. You'll be like, oh, wait, what? Why did I do that? Or, oh yeah, I feel really confident that my logic actually really works for this part, but it's more weird for this part, whatever the case is.
Wow, thanks.
Hey, no problem. And then the other thing, I got two more. of big ones that I learned here. This one, writing design specs. This one is a big one as well. This really taught me to remember all the states that you're supposed to design for. Taught me to write in kind of a technical way, really brief, really concise, for the development crew. So, devs have a lot to do. Everybody working on complicated stuff does. So they don't want to necessarily read the poems that you have inside. They kind of want it a bit more straightforward, more like documentation that you would read. Like, so, I don't really mean specs in like red line sort of terms, like 2 pixels here, 1 pixel here at the top, blah, blah, blah. Although that can be really good if you're trying to also describe your, layout logic and how everything sort of fits together. And like, there's probably lots of stuff you can learn and solidify and make your design better visually by doing that. But I'm sort of thinking about it a little bit more in like the behavior of a thing. So, let's just say it's like add a item to a list, for example. You need to think like, does it load? Thinking about mobile. How do you create one? How do you view it? How do you delete it? How do you update it? And any sort of weirdness. So if somebody was building this, what's every single thing they would need to know about the behavior of the thing?
That's why I love reading design system, documentation, because it's all there. It's the only place I find it's all there. They're explaining why, when you did this and how you scale that, how you change this, how you custom that, and the reasoning, how you should use it, and where you shouldn't and shouldn't. It's a thing that I use a lot in enterprise UX. I'm not saying I'm copy pasting component. Never did that. But reading, the rationale of a component, wow, that helped me a lot. And it's creating me checklists, mental checklists, even checklists I didn't, okay, I need to do this dates, and this date, and this dates. Oh, forgot about, active sometime. I forgot most of the time about active. Yeah, it's not just, clicking over, it's active, and I focused and didn't know. So yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty great. I mean, a great primer is any of the design systems, really. I'm a big fan of Carbon myself, because it gets a little nerdier on data stuff.
Yeah.
You might know that one, Benoit.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. So my suggestion here, if you don't, necessarily have something in your pipeline right now, take a feature. So something like, say, add a table to Google Docs. So you're in a Google Doc, add a table, whatever. You could document basically all the behavior here that would be relevant to somebody, if it was, designed prior to being built. So, screenshots, arrows on things, GIFs, expressing, trying to express yourself really efficiently with the right thing to communicate the right idea in the right way. So that would be like a fun exercise, I think, to suggest to the crew.
It's really fun, by the way.
It's really fun.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
Very useful. Yeah.
It's hard. That's the thing.
Because if you're working in enterprise UX, you'll have to do it. You'll have to. You can present something, you can create a video, whatever, but people will want something somewhere, even if it's just an acceptance criteria. So you take a feature, what does exactly you want us to do. So you'll have to do it. So you have to be good at it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and then my final thing. I mean, I could have probably added some more, but I was like, stop it. So I was getting started on this. A brief. So for a redesign, this is a document. This is something that I've had to write a few times. It's a little bit more like a PM sort of responsibility usually if there is a product manager, but often there isn't a product manager. So you got to do more product-y, managed-y stuff as a designer. And so this is something that I started to do, especially depending on which client I was working with. So getting like really weird instructions on what the goals were and like what we were trying to do. Like we have to sift through that a lot, and it's often hard to actually be talking about the same thing when you're starting a project. It comes back to your thing, Benoit, about writing the problem statement.
That's what, yeah. It's a pet peeve of mine. If you cannot write the problem, I don't even think you should start designing it.
No.
That's my point.
Yeah, totally. And also when you start a new project, you need to like onboard yourself into it, and you need to get into it. And so it's very kind of foreign to you when you're starting it, especially if it's a feature set you don't know about. And so maybe before trying to draw things about it, this is a nice way to make yourself immerse into it. So the first kind of thing, how a feature works, why it's this way, the little archaeology part of when you do a redesign of something, and evidence around how we might look at improving it, and why like we're going to be doing something to it in the first place, which kind of ties into the goals on working on this this new redesign. And yeah, so just kind of forcing yourself to get oriented with it. It's hard to say like, oh, this is the exact format that you need to follow.
Well, that's what I call the scientific process. Sometimes it's not just that, but okay, I have any hypothesis in mind. What I'm observing, okay, kind of interesting. So, if I'm trying to find if it's wrong or right, what metrics will have to get to make sure it's good. So now I'll create this hypothesis, I'll prototype it, I'll design it. So what's the goal of this prototype? What I want to do now? And if you're doing some kind of a scientific study, you have to write it somewhere. But it's following this same principle. So by writing it, you'll find yourself going down that process, this workflow of, okay, I have a problem now. What should I do about it? And writing it will force you to do that. And the redesign is it's interesting. I see so many redesign of airplane tickets or things like that. People are just redesigning stuff and say, yeah, that's way better. Well, you don't even know what's the goal, what the constraint, what you're trying to achieve exactly. It's beautiful, but I don't know why you did it and what was your intent, and if you fixed it, how did you fix it, or what making you that certain that you fixed it? Who cares?
Other than it's cuter.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
and that's very subjective, isn't that? If it's cuter, and who think it's cuter? The customer, the stakeholders give me more information about that. Cute, what metrics, kind of important to know. If you don't even can share that or find truth about that, what's the point of this redesign?
Yeah. And so I think also what you can kind of learn about the project itself by doing this as a practice too is how to align the team a little bit. So you're like, okay, well, we put words on this. Is it this? This is in the document. Like, so you're making it into something more concrete and more official. And
you want the team to say, yeah. So why are you showing me that? Oh, kind of. That's the goal. Everybody agree. Okay, now I know.
Yeah. Because you can go into fairyland so quickly with these kind of projects, especially if you have a bit of like a dreamer CEO in the mix.
Who doesn't have that?
Yeah. But like, seriously, I have a design friend who was like, okay, when our website loads, I want the whole keyboard to vibrate. So anyways,
maybe there's a reason.
They wrote a brief. No, just because it was so cool. The brand is just like so awesome, right? So it's like, I want the whole computer to vibrate. So just alignment is important on the expectations part too. And so, so then my little activity that you could try here, take a feature in a product you're working on, or know about, like a feature that you do know about, write this sort of document, include a huge brain dump, and then clean it up and force yourself to do the cleanup part. And okay, is this right? This section? Okay, are we aligned? If there's a team, but if you're by yourself, at least brain dump like crazy and then start to organize. So I found online like this project brief that could be a really nice starting point for like a format that you could follow.
I would love it if people are showing when they're sharing stuff on Dribble, have that, not just the artifact, but why you did this and what was all of this. I would love it. I will understand your things way better and will like it even better.
And even if they said on Dribble, like, I did this because there's a new feature in Figma that I really just wanted to try to see if I could get this kind of visual effect. It's like, oh, cool. Yeah. Or, I saw this really bad data visualization and I wanted to see if I could visually make something more clear. I don't know, whatever the case is.
And I need some opinion of you guys because I'm, near testing and what should I do and what kind of questions. Yeah, that's a great way to learn because people will give you what they think. That's for sure. They have opinions and you can learn from them. Yeah. Oh, that was that's a show and share that we needed. So let me ask you this question, guys. What are the things that someone shared you'll do like tomorrow morning with your coffee? You say, oh, I haven't thought about it. I'll do that. I'll learn a little bit more using this resource.
Beta group.
Yeah. So I'm asking everyone, what do you think you'll do differently tomorrow?
I'll take a look at Flux Academy. That was really cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That one's really cool. And
and comment. Use a comment. You'll have a lot of answers. And
that was really cool. Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah. I'll go back in writing stuff. What I think, how I could do better on, or how I could design it better. Not just saying, we do have a Slack channel where we put, weird things we found. But I think I would try to write it rational about it, how I could fix it, why they did it, and just express it a little bit more. That's one thing I'll do. What else, Megan, Fanny? Something you'll try maybe, or you?
I'd say a bit like you. I think tomorrow, or I kind of want to start my day maybe just like writing about this feature I'm working on that has a lot of unknowns. It's this feature where we have to kind of name things and like give things a clear meaning, where different teams in this company have different meanings for these things. So maybe giving it a bit of a write down, brain dump could be helpful.
Yeah.
So I can try that. Yeah, that would be helpful.
I think it will be a great way to start the day, by the way. It will put me in the mindset to be a designer. So before looking at whatever social network, I just write something about a bug, whatever I found, and I think we'll just kickstart my day. It's a good thing. Megan, you don't have to do anything. You're off for the rest of the day.
You don't have to do anything.
You don't have to learn anything. You'll learn a lot. There's no book for what you're doing right now. So don't read anything. Don't learn. Don't go on a website learning about how to raise a child. Just do it. The worst thing you can do is have a parent university or something. Or maybe. I don't know. Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Dimitri. Thank you, Fanny. And thank you, Kira. That was a nice moment. Do it again. And if you have other subject like that, please comment, contact us, tweet at us, email us, and we'll maybe geek around, swarm around the problem or a subject, and we'll do it live with you. So go subscribe. You'll have a summary of that coming into your inbox soon. And again, have a nice day, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah. See you later.